Predicting childhood obesity, a revolutionary genetic test. Imagine being able to predict a child's future health with just a simple blood test, especially when it comes to something as life-altering as obesity. That's exactly what a groundbreaking new genetic tool promises to do, and it's already stirring up debate in the medical community. But here's where it gets controversial. Could knowing a child's risk so early actually change their life, or does it risk labeling them before they've even started school? Researchers have unveiled a cutting-edge test that analyzes a child's DNA to estimate their likelihood of becoming obese as an adult. This isn't just another health screening, it's a leap forward in personalized medicine. By identifying children and teenagers who are genetically predisposed to obesity, doctors could offer targeted prevention strategies, such as tailored nutrition plans or exercise programs, long before unhealthy habits take root. Imagine the difference early intervention could make for a child who might otherwise struggle with weight for decades. What sets this new test apart is its remarkable accuracy. By examining DNA from a simple blood sample, scientists say it's twice as effective as previous methods at predicting who will face obesity later in life. And this is the part most people miss: the test doesn't just flag at-risk children. It can also forecast how well adults with obesity might respond to specific weight loss interventions, such as diet changes or exercise regimens. This could help doctors personalize treatment plans, making them more effective for each individual. Assistant Professor Relof Smith from the University of Copenhagen, who led the research published in Nature Medicine, explains, the real power of this score is its ability to predict, even before a child turns 5, whether they're likely to develop obesity as an adult long before other risk factors come into play. Early action at this stage could be a game changer. The urgency is clear. The World Obesity Federation warns that by 2035, over half the world's population could be overweight or obese. In England alone, nearly 65% of adults are already overweight or obese, and about 1 in 8 children aged 2 to 10 falls into the obese category, according to NHS data. While there are various ways to address obesity ranging from lifestyle changes and medication to surgery, these solutions aren't always accessible or effective for everyone. That's why the potential to prevent obesity before it starts is so compelling. This ambitious study was a global effort, involving more than 600 scientists from 500 institutions and a partnership with consumer genetics company 23andMe. Researchers collected data on traits like height and body mass index, BMI, from over 5 million people, making it the largest and most diverse genetic dataset ever assembled for this purpose. Here's how it works: subtle differences in our genes can influence everything from our appetite to our risk of gaining weight. The scientists created what's called a polygenic risk score, a kind of genetic calculator that adds up the effects of many small genetic variations to produce an overall risk score for obesity. They then tested this score on the physical and genetic data of more than 500,000 people. Professor Ruth Luce from the University of Copenhagen's Center for Basic Metabolic Research calls this new polygenic score a dramatic improvement in predictive power and a major step toward making genetic testing for obesity risk a practical tool in clinics. But here's a twist that could spark debate. The study found that people with a higher genetic risk for obesity actually responded better to lifestyle interventions like diet and exercise. However, once those interventions stopped, they tended to regain weight more quickly. Does this mean genetic risk is destiny, or can lifestyle still win out in the long run? And this is the part that's likely to raise eyebrows. Despite using genetic data from around the world, the test was much more accurate for people of European ancestry than for those of African descent. This raises important questions about fairness and equity in genetic medicine. Should we rely on tools that don't work equally well for everyone? So, what do you think? Is it ethical to predict a child's future health risks so early? Could this tool help prevent a global obesity crisis, or does it risk creating new forms of stigma? Share your thoughts. Do you see this as a breakthrough, or are there hidden dangers we need to talk about? Breakthrough tool predicts childhood obesity risk in adulthood. Genetic BMI predictor. The shocking truth: a new tool can predict obesity in children as young as 2.5. Imagine being able to identify children who are likely to become obese in adulthood, and intervening early to prevent it. Sounds like science fiction, right? But here's where it gets real. Scientists have created a groundbreaking tool that can do just that. This innovative tool, developed by a team of academics, assesses a person's genetic risk of obesity and works twice as well as any other obesity risk predictor. But that's not all, it can also predict how well obese adults will respond to targeted weight loss programs. Talk about a game changer. So, how does it work? The tool, known as a polygenic risk score, analyzes people's genetics to determine their risk of developing obesity. By analyzing data from over 5 million people, the researchers were able to create a tool that can explain 17.6% of variation in body mass index (BMI) scores. That's a significant number, especially when you consider that BMI alone is not a reliable predictor of obesity risk in children. But here's the part that's really exciting: the tool can successfully predict weight gain during childhood, from as early as 2.5 years old, all the way through adolescence. That's right, by the time a child is just 2.5, we can already identify whether they're at risk of becoming obese in adulthood. The science behind the tool. The researchers, led by academics at the universities of Copenhagen and Bristol, used data from over 500,000 people to test the tool. They found that it was consistently associated with BMI scores from childhood to adulthood, making it a powerful tool for predicting obesity risk. What does this mean for obesity prevention? According to lead author Relof Smit, intervening at this point could theoretically make a huge impact. By identifying children at risk of obesity early on, we can provide targeted support to prevent them from becoming obese in the first place. And for obese adults, the tool can help predict how well they'll respond to weight loss programs. But